Excellent. Perfect. It's great to meet you. And before we get into your album, we all lived through quite a thing with COVID. And I'm curious now that we're coming out of it, you have a new album. As a musician, how did you survive that time period?
By writing songs. I wrote the almost 6 songs during the lockdown. I was taking my 10K steps every day by the Ontario Lake, and all those songs happened during these walks. I would come back. I had a songbook that I would write in the lyrics, and I have my keyboard right here. Then I would just put in chords, and it really helped. I
Yeah.
did a lot of self-reflection, and these songs came out.
So the interesting thing is the name of the album, Immigrant, there's been so many things that COVID brought to light. Lots of things, race and class and, there's so many things, but immigration was a huge part of that too.
Right.
How much what we lived through in the last 3 years was a part of this message that you were putting in the album, or has it been kind of a collective of your whole life that came in and got condensed into this period?
Interesting question. I believe, yeah, it got very condensed during the lockdown as well, but it has been a sum up of my journey in Canada as an immigrant in terms of my expectations and what I came to be. And I wanted to write about my journey and my experiences, in terms of the dating life and homelessness and everything that I expected.
So let's go back to the beginnings of your life before we really peel back the layers of this album. Talk to me about where you were born and raised and how this bug of music and singing and jazz got into you.
Well, I was born in Turkey, and I was taking, just like everybody, and in high school, I was introduced to music, but due to family pressure, I became a lawyer, and I pleased my parents, and I gave up on my music dream up until one day I decided to join, just out of boredom, a jazz vocal workshop, and it took on a life of its own. Once I left the jazz vocal workshop in my early 30s, I decided this was what I wanted to do. And then I never gave up. Like, I started taking piano classes, voice classes, started writing songs, performing in Istanbul. Then I decided that I need to go to school, to that I owe it to myself to realize this dream. And I quit my day job on a Friday, and I went to Canada, to Montreal, to study jazz. And that happened back in 2011.
Wow, that's quite triumphant. So who were early influences for you? Who'd you listen to? Who really made you want to be either a singer or a jazz musician?
Chet Baker, Carmen McRae, Anita O'Day. I was influenced by so many people. It's very difficult to name people, but I love Blossom Theory's witty lyrics. For instance, Bob Dorough,
Yeah.
their very contemporary approach, like being witty and funny. They introduce, I mean, to my knowledge, most of the jazz songs are like Body and Soul and Round Midnight are sad, but whereas Blossom Theory wrote the song, "Someone has been sending me flowers, and please don't." They're like, they fill the room. I can't take them anymore. So I thought that this is the kind of jazz that I'd like to write about and sing about.
What was the first live show, whether jazz or otherwise, that you saw that really made you think, I either want more of this or I want to be on that stage one day?
Oh, I think it was during my studies. I went to a jazz club in Istanbul. I don't even remember what it was, but it's just the communication between the jazz musicians, the atmosphere of the club, everything about it made me want to be a part of it. And I felt so welcome. I felt that the audience was a part of it as opposed to a rock concert. And I really enjoyed it.
It's
I
interesting.
can't forget that.
Yeah. It's interesting how widespread jazz is this thing that was hatched in America so long ago. What's the scene like in Turkey? How did they embrace jazz?
The scene is quite nice, actually. We have quite a few jazz clubs, and I believe there are great musicians and great clubs, and that's where my passion flourished. So I'd say the scene is great.
So tell me about Immigrant. What are you hoping the listener gets from this experience?
Some empathy. I think that I wrote it for everybody because immigration is a hot button issue. Like people travel either for work or for the hopes of a better life. And I thought that the lyrics and the song would speak to anyone who moves out of their roots to create a new life. And I wanted to talk about my story, hoping that it would echo in their life as well.
The thing that always amazes me, and all my ancestors came from Italy, and I'm half Italian, but I always am amazed, for the first generation that came over, why this is such an issue when all America is known for is being an immigrant cauldron. None of us are genuinely 100%. The only 100% Americans were the Native Americans, and we know what happened with that scenario. The thing that just gets me is like, how is it that it's still such a hot button topic that we, just like with racism and other things, I don't understand why we can't get over it and we can't just embrace the fact that this is the fabric by which we are. It doesn't make any sense to me.
That's right. Yeah, I fully agree. Well, I explain it in a very simple way. Like you have a cat, and that you have a pet, and that's a cat, and then you think that your cat is lonely, and you'd like to bring a new cat to accompany the existing one. But the cat says, "This is my land," to the other one, and at first the other cat is not welcome. The other cat needs to really prove that he or she will respect the territory, the rules of the boss who has been in the house longer than her. And I think that in terms of immigration, it is the same. It's in our nature. I think that what we do say to the newcomers is like, "I was here first." And maybe we think that we deserve better just because we were born in this land. And maybe it's just difficult to see a newcomer come and succeed and realize their dreams. And then maybe it forces us to self-reflect as regards our opinion. Like, look at this guy who just arrived like 10 years ago, and look at myself. I believe this issue will continue to be the hot button issue for quite some time, I believe, unfortunately.
Yeah, it certainly will. So let's go to, you had this dream, you you pursued. What was the first stage that you got on where you were like, wow, I can't believe this is happening?
Music school, I would say. During the performances of the music school, I actually went to Concordia in Montreal, and there was a jazz bar called Upstairs Jazz Bar just across the street, actually, conveniently located. And every other university would have a jam session except mine. And I asked my professors, like, why don't we have our jam session? We'd like to go and perform, practice our songs. They said, oh, it fell out. It used to exist, and then nobody owned it, and the club owner was tired because nobody showed up. So I said, well, I'd like to resuscitate that. I'd like to take ownership, and I'd like to organize it. So my professors put me in touch with the club owner, and I ran it for like 4.5 years. And when I first appeared on that stage, I felt great about it. I said, oh, this dream is coming true, and I'm helping my colleagues. We're making music here together.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What do you like the best about this process of being a professional musician? It was obviously a career change. You're going after your dream, but what is it that you look forward to the most? The thing that really gets you up and moving?
Touring and performing live in different parts of the world. I'd love to go to Japan, for
Yeah.
instance, and sing in Turkish, sing in French, sing my own songs in different parts of the world, as well as Europe, for instance. I'd love to go there, explore, and perform with with the local musicians there, because it's a communication, right? And we get so much from each other. There's so much cross fertilization, and I really look forward to that.
Well, I guess that's a part of this new world, this post-COVID world we're getting into. We're finally getting back to it. Do the audiences feel different? What is it like now versus what it was like before?
Well, the main difference is it's hard to get people out to watch a show, because I think that people are so used to watching shows on YouTube,
Yeah.
and it's difficult. I think that the audience, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but since we're so used to watching stuff on YouTube, we appreciate it less and less, that how difficult it is for the musicians to survive by performing live jazz, live music. So the most difficult part of me was to get people out again to concerts.
Yeah. So let's say you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see a performer live. Who would you love to catch live?
Carmen McRae.
Yeah. What if you had the chance to talk to her, what would you say to her?
How do you manage to be so natural? How do you manage to live every song, every lyric? And I know that her journey wasn't easy. I read her book, and she's quite a diva herself. And how did you manage to find these lovely people who surround you, like Billie Holiday and Sarah Vaughan? And she's a great piano player. And I would say, congratulations for staying there so long, as long as you did, and putting your name out there with all the other greats. But she definitely is special for me, much more special than other people,
So,
because of her interpretation of the lyrics.
oh, for sure. Yeah. So, very simply put, why do you love jazz?
Because it's live. You can never perform the same song ever again. Most of the times, well, it's COVID reality, right? We can't afford to pay musicians for a rehearsal, or they don't even have time, because most of the jazz musicians now have day jobs. They can barely make it to the gig. So if you have a good chart, you get up there and you perform it. And sometimes it can be a train wreck, but it's just jazz. Everything happens on that stage. That's why I love it. That's why I love performing it. That's why I love watching other musicians
Yeah.
struggle with what's there, to interpret in the best way they can.
Yeah. So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, fans, but you ultimately are the one in charge. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Well, I'm a performer. I'm an immigrant. I'm a person with a very eclectic background, and I have very interesting stories to tell. And I love being on stage. And I define myself as an entertainer. I love getting up on that stage, talk about the story behind the song, and connect with my audience each time. So I just don't go out there and this is a song we're going to perform. This is this and that on guitar. I love to talk about the songs. For instance, when I performed this song in Italian, Estate, which has very interesting lyrics. So I always talk about it. So this is a song, it's very dramatic. I thought that Turkish people were dramatic, but Italian are worse. Estate means summer in Italian. So the lyrics goes like this: I met you in summer, I fell in love with you in summer, but then you left me in summer. So now I hate summer and I would like to die in excruciating pain. And it always gets people, they laugh, and I perform this lovely Italian song.
That's wonderful. So do you ever think that how bad it would have been if you wouldn't have gone down this course in your life to go after this career? I mean, are you
I
always
do
relieved?
actually.
Yeah, yeah,
I do, and I am grateful that I was courageous enough to make the leap, to make the decision that I left my comfort zone, left my comfortable job, my country, my circle of friends, and managed to realize my dream. Of course, it was not easy,
yeah.
but it feels great to be here.
Well, and there's such an other side to this. You hear so many people that say, "I wish I would have done this. This was my dream," and you're living the other side of that, which I think is a far lower number than the other side. So it's says a lot about what you're doing and the passion that goes into your music. Speaking of that passion, if anyone wants to pick up Immigrant, see you live, anything pertaining to your world, where is the best place to go?
My website, fuattuac.com, or any digital platform. On YouTube, we have lots of new videos, which are the video clips of the new songs, as well as some recent performances. I try to film every performance and put it out there, a collage of the concert, rather than just like a 1.5 hours, just like glimpses of 30 seconds from each song, so they get an idea as regards what I look like on stage, because I think that hearing somebody on the CD and watching somebody live are like totally different, two different worlds. So YouTube probably is the best address, because you get to see me perform live, and then you get to see the studio recordings as well.
Wonderful. This has been great. Thank you for opening up a portal into your world, the new album, and your history and music. Best of luck with everything.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And before you go, I'd love to keep you in front of my audience. Would you mind doing a quick plug, just introducing yourself, singer, where you're coming out of, and you're listening to my music on Neon Jazz with Joe Domino, something like that, and I'll play it in between songs.
Of course. Hello, my name is Fuat Tuac. I'm a jazz vocalist of Turkish origin who lives in Toronto, Canada, and you're listening to Neon Jazz. Thanks for tuning in.
Excellent. I got to tell you, my son, he has special needs. He's on the spectrum, and we met one of the players. He's really big in local charity, and his name's Nicky Lopez, plays for the Royals. And I was asking him, what city do you guys always look forward to going to, or what city are you hung over in because you had such a good time? And they said it's Toronto all the time. They love it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so I always hear so many good things. I got to get up there at some point.
You should, definitely. Look me up when you're here.
Absolutely, man. Hey, great to meet you. Thank you. I'll get links over. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much. Pleasure meeting you. Have a great day.
Take care. See you later.